Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to another episode of Creepypastas. Yes, this time we take a look at a creepypasta about a chat room, a bot, if you will, a program on a disk drive, and this is called Chatroom 98. So, without going more into it, let's sit down and enjoy Chatroom 98. Hi, I'm currently in a bed inside St. Anne's Hospital in North London. Dr. Martin kindly allowed me to use his laptop so I can explain how I got here and what happened to me. My name's David Argento. I'm 16 years old, and apparently I'm suffering from a mental illness of some kind. There's only so much I could take in from the doctor's word in the opposite patient room, so since I have a bloody massive headache, I've been given a fair amount of ibuprofen, but this headache seems permanent. But I don't care. I absolutely must get this written down at all costs. Anyways, you might be wondering how I got here. Well, here's the story. About 4 nights ago, I went upstairs to the loft and took my old school books to the burning pile. I just finished my GCSEs, and like all my friends, hated every single subject I did. Math, history, English. Especially English. You name it, I really hated it. So, I found the books exactly where I left them a few months back, or dump more like, in a corner that was so old there was enough dust to make candy floss. Cotton candy, if you will. I scorned the moment I looked at them again, except I knew this would be the last time I'd have to look at them. So I collected them all underneath one arm. Disgusting, I considered changing clothes shortly afterwards. But then something caught my eye. I'm not really sure how I noticed it, but I remember being so intrigued by it that I dropped the books on the loft floor and picked it up. It was a red CD-ROM case, about the size of the average book. There were no words of any kind, even when I turned it over on the other side. Saw it all. I was kind of excited. It looked like a computer game that the previous house owners had left behind. And since I absolutely loved computers at the time, I was interested in giving it a go on my Dell. But when I opened the case, the disc inside lacked any kind of artistic illustration. Instead, just a bland white color with some text written on it with, black marker pen. The words were Chatroom 98. I wasn't exactly pleased when I learned it wasn't a game, but since someone had actually went through the effort of making a chatroom disc rather than the vast chat rooms available on the internet, I concluded it would have to be different somehow. That I'd gotten right. Having kicked the worthless books down the attic ladder, I inserted the disc inside my old laptop, and after a brief moment a red box with no text in it appeared. I wasn't sure what to make of it at first, but it seemed to be, lingering there for half a minute. Then the screen went black for a brief moment and flashed the words, "Welcome to Chatroom 98, that had appeared at the top center of the screen. Chatroom 98. What's the significance of that number? Then what happened to be a white text box opened up in the center. I don't know what to type, so I randomly just put in hello. I didn't expect any kind of response, but then I'd gotten one. A person by the name of Darwin Clark replied, "Good afternoon." There's no possible way that this person was real. It seemed like I was the only possessor of this chat room disk. Then I realized it was one of those chatbots, a software designed to stimulate an intelligent conversation with whoever talks to it. ICT was the only thing I was good at. I still thought it was strange, though. I'd only lived in my current house for 6 years, but I'd never encountered that red box in my entire life. I suppose the house's previous owners must have owned it. But it's not like they owned a computer, unless you count the smashed-to-pieces one that we threw away to the dump when we first arrived. Anyways, I tried to start a conversation to see to what extent the artificial intelligence had been programmed. "The lovely weather we're having," I wrote. No sooner than 3 seconds, Mr. Clark replied, "No, it seems rather miserable today." I was taken aback. The weather was, more or less, exactly how he put it. I don't know either, until I looked out the window and saw that it was about to rain. It seemed the books had one more day to live, but I wasn't too surprised. The chatbot was practically programmed to say that. And since this is England I live in, it could have been more than likely. I then typed in, "So what are your favorite movies?" Again, I got a response. "I don't watch movies. I prefer the theater." The theater? Was I talking to an old man? I replied, "How old are you?" I don't care if the bot got offended. It'd have to give me an answer eventually. The answer was, "I'll tell you myself. I was born in 1867, grew up with 2 sisters, whom I hated." Okay, right. Whoever programmed this was clearly having a laugh, so I typed back, laughing hysterically as I wrote it. "Well, I was born in 2098, with 2 identical twin brothers who are also aliens from the planet Boogaloo. I'm also Jesus." I wondered what the senile old man would say next. I knew it was a chatbot, but I kept thinking it was a real person for some unexplainable reason. He said, "Really, how droll. Nice to meet you, Mr. Jesus. Have your brothers abducted anyone yet?" I crapped up again. Whoever wrote this must have done an impressive job, so I typed in, "Yes, they're actually alien abductors who prey on human children. You'd better watch out. They also have a fetish for CD-ROMs." The next reply was just plain unsettling, though. Clark replied, "Well, although I may appear to be a CD-ROM, I was actually a human myself. And once, until I had faced my judgment for my transgressions." I don't know what the fuck he was saying, but the poignant detail of his description startled me for a second. It felt real, just too real. And then, to my surprise, he typed another message. "You don't understand. Let me make myself plain. My sisters, whom I hated, met with a tragic accident." I was starting to feel cold. This wasn't just a chatbot. This must have been a psycho chatbot or something, or it was a big joke. I typed in to see the reaction. "Do you know what else my brothers have done lately?" And then I was just met with the biggest surprise of all. Darwin Clark responded again, only this time I could see his message being typed, like what you see on a typewriter. "You are an only child, David." What the fuck? I was seriously getting creeped out now, so I typed in, "What the fuck are you?" And the response simply couldn't have been made by an AI. It seemed too much like a human was actually talking to me. "Let me tell you a story. Do you know what happened to your house's previous owners?" And I sat there like an idiot staring at the computer awaiting a response. "The same that happened to my two sisters. Remember, I despised both of them." That was it. I moved the cursor to the top right to click the cross button to end the nightmare, and I was relieved. I'd only been talking to it for 5 minutes, but it seemed like 2 hours. But when I tried to shut down the PC, the unthinkable had happened. The computer became unresponsive. It, went all glitched and fucked up. Worse still, the chat room opened by itself, and I got another message. And by this time, I was sure to be hallucinating by now. "You haven't heard everything yet." I scrambled at the keyboard. I was losing my mind. "Are you fucking with my computer? Stop! Seriously not funny." Finally, I think this is where it happened. Darwin Clark had typed in again, this time in a much slower typewriting fashion than last time. I could hear nothing more than my own heartbeat. It intensified more and more with each passing letter. My face was practically melting with sweat. And as I focused more and more on the letters as they were being typed, the horrified expression on my face would have become so visible. I think I remember seeing it in the reflection of my laptop. The final message that he gave me, which lost me my sanity and ruined my health, was, "Look behind you." I remember feeling as if everything around me was slowing down. I was really worried. Part of me knew that there would be something behind, and a smaller part tried to assure me that there was nothing there. I shut my eyes, clenched my teeth violently together, and then shot my head back like a bullet. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I spat out a weak laughter and nodded my head in relief, and I felt like everything was safe again until I looked back at the computer monitor, and I must have seen it the moment I swiveled my chair, but it caught me anyways. There was a face. A fucking face of a man. A fucking pale white face. Grinning at me. My laptop screen. The hair was blonde, and he seemed to be in his mid-20s, but his expression was the exact opposite of friendly. His eyes were crimson red. I only saw it for a nanosecond, but what was all... That was just all I could take. After that, apparently I just screamed violently and I fell unconscious for about 4 hours. That's what Dr. Martin told me. He's the guy looking after me at the moment. He really doesn't know what I've been through. So, here I'm now, sitting in the bed at 4:30 a.m., typing the story to the world. Even as I type, I still worry that the face will appear once again and scare the shit out of me. I seem to be suffering from a trauma. My eyes have grown dark purple circles around them, because I've literally not slept since that incident. I tried sleeping, but that face stops me. Now that I've written the story, I urge everyone to watch out. If you see a red CD-ROM case, throw it away. Don't open it, don't use it. I'm gonna jump out the third story window. I can't take it anymore. I'm scared. I want to die now. If anyone tries to resuscitate me, then fuck you too. And don't, I repeat, don't go looking for Darwin Clark. He may, or he may be not real, I don't know, but one thing's for sure. He can drive you insane. If you read this message, don't look for Darwin Clark. If you find him, you will lose your mind. And this was Chatroom 98, or I guess Funnymouth 2 in a way, 2.0 or 0.5, depending on how it went. It wasn't bad, to be honest, but that's just my love of Funnymouth talking. In reality, really, there isn't, it's just a tad too short for my taste. See, unlike Funnymouth, which was longer, and because of that, it built up more, and it created that mood. This one just started, and the concept was there, but we didn't have the time to, again, build up the whole concept and tone, which, again, you need tone, you need it, it's what makes a creepypasta great in my eyes. It's what makes it creepy. Now, I looked up Darwin Clark, and I just found entries relating to this creepypasta and a fucking god-awful screamer, which I'll get to in a bit. Maybe that's why I wasn't supposed to look it up, but that's besides the point, which I will get to in a bit. Now, moving on. At the end of the day, it had this ending that almost reached plushie killing level territory for me, but instead we get this morbid suicide, and maybe the screamer really did get to the protagonist, but which I must mention really is the case, because the screamer that I did find was of Jeff the Killer, pale white man, you see it all fitting together with that grin. Now, in the end, this was alright. Once again, I also have to mention that CD-ROM as well. That the whole thing was pretty much this bot, and how realistic it could be, it really isn't, because, the only way I could see it happening is if that program, there was some guy sitting on the other end, you would automatically he or she would connect to that client that would just pull up. So, like, if you put that disk into your computer, fired up the program, and somebody on the other side would connect to you as soon as you logged in. That's a fucking legitimately creepy concept right there, too. And that would have been a great creepypasta idea right there. So for this, if it incorporated that even more, this is why you need build-up. This is why you need more of the explanation. See, but as far as logistics go, there really isn't AI that strong enough to just instantly deduce you and go all that crazy and meta on you. So on that case, it could have really done something with it, but it didn't. But I like the concept. It was alright. It wasn't exactly what I hoped for, but if it was more fleshed out, it would really be creepy. But what would you rate this, and, what would you change to make it better? Please let me know in the comments below. This has been another episode of Creepypastas, and if you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mutahar, and I am out.